friends. We're back. This time, we are doing daily live shows. We want to make sure that you, our loyal Crypto Paradise community members, do not miss any news, analysis, alpha calls, surf updates. This is the bull run. We have 6 months, 9 months to collectively work our asses off and make as much as we can because we know that bear market's going to hit at some point. So you got to make hay when the sun is shining, and the sun is certainly shining, gentlemen. Very happy to be here. We'll be back doing this every single day, minus Saturday and Sunday. So, all right, here we are. It's Tuesday, July 22nd. ETH has just gone on a monster run, correcting a little bit today. We've had some huge successes calling really impressive low cap gems. I'm thinking buck 9 to 5. Now seeing it over 6 million. First call at 300K. That's a solid 20x for anyone in the Surf DAO. So we're going to be covering low cap gems. We're going to be covering ETH. We're going to be covering Bitcoin. We're going to be covering everything. So, all right, with that, what's going on, guys? First of all, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? I know, Nate, you don't hold any Ethereum, so are you feeling like a little FOMO, like you missed out a little bit this last few weeks, or how you hold up?
I never said I don't hold any Ethereum. I just said that I was bearish on it because the tech is garbage, and then the stablecoin bills passed, and everybody started buying. So I mean, I probably like everybody. I feel like I don't hold enough Ethereum now, but I definitely got some.
That's funny. And I think before starting with the Bitcoin and Ethereum chart, which we normally do, I think we got to touch base on some of the altcoins, the movement memes that we've been telling our community to buy because they have been absolutely ripping. You can see here, fuck 9 to 5, got to shout them out. Up 1,800% in 3 months. Crypto Paradise, the DAO members knew that we were about to start working with fuck 9 to 5. They bought in at 300K market cap. Plenty of time to accumulate. Up 1,800%. Then we gave them another warning. This was part of the private group as well. July 18th. Told them the next wave of marketing is coming. And what do you know? July 22nd. Up. I got to adjust this because it just keeps going. 224% in 3 days. That's the power of holding 200,000 surf or more right there. Also, let's look at another one. Movement meme coins are here to stay. Dose. What do you know? 800K market cap. The Surf DAO. When did they get in? Oh, yeah, all the way down here. It seems like an eternity ago, but it's only 12 days ago, and they are up 851%. And Dose, the substance, looks like it wants to accumulate up here somewhere and go for another run higher. They know what they're doing over there at Dose. And now, movement coins are so in vogue that another movement coin just reached out to us. Oh, but I can't show you that one yet. If you want to get that buy, you need 200,000 surf or more. That one is below 100,000 market cap as we speak. Will Crypto Paradise like what they see and like the team? Will that be another 10x? The answer is probably yes. So definitely take a look at Surf over on Pulse Chain. Yes, it's a dip, guys. That's okay. That is the time to buy. Sitting around a $1 million market cap. Just completely undervalued here. But it looks like we do have this falling wedge here pattern. Consolidate, make a rounded bottom, and the breakout is imminent. So get in while you can. Capture 10x's while you wait for Surf token to go to 10 million market cap and beyond.
10x season, boys. We got a nice little 10x season last year. Like, well, pretty much like what, October through the end of the year. We had like a 40x, we had a 30x, we had a 20x, we had a couple 10s, we had a couple 5s. Like, I think we're getting back into that season again where it's go time, baby. It's 10x season. We've already printed 2 10x's with Dose. I mean, Dose is sitting at 8x now, but it ripped higher. I mean, it was over a 10x at all-time high from our call. Fuck 9 to 5, well over a 10x. I think it hit, up into the 5 million range, which was like a 16x. So things are starting to print again, guys. It's getting fun, getting exciting. But again, if you would have been buying all throughout, if you would have, stayed locked in, the people that are these kind of fair weather crypto fans, and we're going to cover some stories here. Retail's finally starting to show some signs of life again. But, if you're going to be a fair weather, crypto fan, you're going to miss out on all this stuff, right? Like, we made the FCK 9 to 5 tweet or, call like 2 months ago. Like, it's not an overnight thing. Like, these guys are grinding in the background. If you bought and hold, you're rewarded now with a, 16x, almost a 20x pump here. The Crypto Paradise token, if you're able to get in on the launch, we pumped to what? I think our all-time high is around 5 mil. Depending when you got in, if you're one of the lucky guys that got in, under 100K, you're laughing. If you got the airdrop, I mean, at the all-time high, airdrop was worth like $8,000 for doing, for supporting the project, and those are the guys that were there from, this January through what, June, when everybody was bearish and Bitcoin was down and alts were down. If you bought, you were around when Ian and when Amaro and Hellman were making the ETH calls, and I was being bearish on it, like you're up 2x on ETH, right? So like if you're gonna be a fair weather crypto fan and only come when you see the big pumps on the big green candles, you're gonna miss out on all this stuff. It's everyone thinks this game's a get rich quick, get rich overnight kind of system. It's not. If you're gonna play it that way, yeah, then you're gambling. Take your money to the casino. But if you're gonna be here grinding it out year after year, day after day, that's where you're gonna have the opportunity to catch these big moves, to catch these big gains. And whether you're a meme coin guy or getting in on these micro caps at under 100K and looking for those kind of pumps, whether you're a bigger trader looking for lower risk stuff like Ethereum or these big top 100, top 20 coins, again, you're going to miss those if you're just waiting for the retail hype to come in. You're not going to be here. So if you weren't locked in before, I hope this has been a wake up call. Seeing ETH double, seeing Bitcoin rip above 120K or rip up to 120K, seeing all this institutional adoption. Stay locked in now. We've got somewhere between 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year left in this bull run. We don't really know. Personally, I think most of us here think we're gonna go through at least the end of the year here. So if now or never, lock it in and then learn from this. When the bear market comes, get some clean outs, take some profits, stack up those bags, but don't quit paying attention to crypto. Millionaires are made in the bear market. You need to be learning. You need to be looking for these opportunities, studying as everybody's going down. If you're a trader, maybe, make some gains on some shorts. And then when the market's bottom, that's when you're ready to ape in. If you would have bought ETH at the bottom, if you would have bought things like Solana at the bottom, if you would have bought Bitcoin at the bottom, hell, if you have Bitcoin at the bottom, you're coming up on a 10x on Bitcoin in under 2 years. Like that's the easiest investment in the world. You don't have to be a genius, just buy in the bear market and hold. So last wake up call here, calling all fair weather crypto fans, now or never. Get locked in. You still got time to make some money in this market here before we see another crypto win, another bear cycle.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's going to be plenty of fair weather latecomers that will be buying our bags, because that's exactly what happens when you're in something like the Surf DAO. You're getting those early alpha because we're in the trenches. We're talking to the teams. We're crypto 24/7, and then we're relaying what we're learning to our community. And they're getting in at $100,000 market caps, $300,000 market caps before things run up to 5, 10, 50 million, right? So, you got to be aligned with the right people. But I will tell you this, retail is coming back. I know this for a fact because my boy Rio, shout out to my boy Rio. I'm going to send him this link after the live stream's done. He's starting to ask questions. By the way, he actually pulled Surf. Shout out to Rio. He got an airdrop. He asked our group chat today, what do we think about the strategic reserves, institutional money coming in, Wall Street coming in, etc. And I said, yeah, I mean, it's bullish as fuck, right? Bitcoin, digital gold, Wall Street's all in. But the new meta and the narrative that we at Crypto Paradise have been on since 2 months ago, I want to say, when the hitman Nostradamus was like, I see something come around the corner, and that is the ETH strategic reserve. That is the new meta. And if you look at ETH relative to Bitcoin, man, that is undervalued as hell. Even after this pump, we're sub 4,000. We are below the previous all-time high. Meanwhile, Bitcoin 2x higher than its previous all-time high. Yes, Bitcoin will go higher this bull run. I think nobody has any doubts about that. But I think Bitcoin has maybe a 2x left. We'll see. That would actually lead right to Hitman's prediction of 240,000. So we'll see 2x on Bitcoin. We'll see if it gets there. ETH, though, I think 3x, 5x. If you listen to the really smart people on Wall Street who are now literally buying billions of dollars of Ethereum, the Tom Lees of the world, the Joe Lubins of the world, all loading up on their Ethereum for their respective strategic reserves. Another massive one just came online yesterday. ETH is the play right now. If you're in the trenches and you want to get in those $100,000 market caps and do your 10x, do your 50x, that's a different game. If you're looking to get in on something that's tried and true, Wall Street's adopting it, has massive runway room to run ahead. I think ETH is right now, man, the best investment out there if that's your sort of level of risk tolerance. And Rio, we'll get into exactly why that is. But the reason why I know retail is back is because my normie friends are now asking about crypto.
Yeah,
That's
Rio, you should have had Rio watching a month or two ago, and he could have been in at $1,700 ETH and $9 SBET and everything else. But to each their own. Better late than never when it comes to crypto. And yeah, talking about Ethereum, SBET just announced they increased their Ethereum holdings by 29%, all while Ethereum price really didn't do too much. That's crazy because that means they jumped back above Thomas Lee. And what do you think they're going to do? They're going to try to get back on top and buy some more. Also, that big player, I don't know the name off the top of my head, but they're saying they're going to come to the market with 500,000 ETH, which would put them above Sharplink Gaming and Bitmine, which would be
Ether
insane.
machine.
And that means they haven't.
Another consensus.
Yeah,
And I don't
Ether
think they
machine
have
right
that
here.
Ethereum yet. I don't think they have their Ethereum yet. So where they got to buy 500,000 Ethereum from somewhere. That's wild.
Well, these guys are going
we'll see what happens.
after. The market's really heating up when you have people inside of crypto going after each other on major mainstream news organizations. Ethereum guys calling Bitcoin garbage. All the maxis coming back after each other. Even Ethereum guys going after Ethereum guys saying we're going to outbuy you, outbid you. We're seeing the same thing with the Bitcoin buyers. It's nuts. Wintermute, one of the biggest market makers in the business. We're out of ETH. There's no more ETH for us to sell around, right? And here's why. Look at the Ethereum inflows. This is just last week here. So, previous months, which were like all-time high months, like a really good day, like was like, in the 40s, right? And that's insane. 40 million, 47 million in a day. And now in the last week here, the lowest day in the last week was almost 200 million. We had 726 million on the 17th. 600 million went out. The ETH distributions on that day, meaning like new ETH hitting the market, was 6 million. So you have a 100x demand versus supply ratio right now. Like that's nuts. You look at the traditional markets, right? The traditional markets, you want to talk about stuff that's like overinflated, right? Look at you got PDE ratios on stocks right now, like Wingstop and shit like that. It's like 65, right? Meaning their price of their share is 65 times higher than their actual earnings. That's a bubble right there. This is the exact opposite of that. You have 100 times the buying demand on Ethereum in a single day than there is new supply coming on the market. That's insane. That's why ETH is ripping. That's why ETH is going to continue to rip, and why Amaru and Hitman are right. This is one of the, this is going to be one of the better opportunities for people, and rather relatively safe opportunities in this market right now. It's happening because of the ETH strategic reserves, the ability for them to gain a higher leverage on what the Bitcoin companies are doing. They can stake it and earn passive revenue while they're holding it. And ETH is set up to be, as we've said, last week and time again, the strategic value of these stable coins coming into play cannot be undervalued. Literally trillions of dollars is going to be brought into crypto because of this. And the biggest winners are going to probably be Ethereum and maybe XRP, because that's where all the transaction volume for these, for the JP Morgan stable coin, for the Amazon and the Facebook and the whatever other, top 100 S&P 100 companies that are coming in and creating their own stable coins. Most of that volume is going to be on Ethereum, and that's going to.
I don't think it's going on. I don't think it's going on XRP.
That's what I was going to say. That's a great breakdown until you mentioned XRP
as
a joke, but
XRP's not compliant the way ETH is. It's too centralized. They got founders dumping on everyone left and right. It doesn't have the SEC like Ethereum does, and it doesn't have a
is Nate's bearish Ethereum, bullish XRP. We got to make Nate
no, don't be misquoting me now. No, I agree. I dislike XRP more than I dislike Ethereum, but there are people that are talking about their stablecoin adoption on XRP.
I don't know all the details. That may happen in the future. But if you listen to guys like Tom Lee, it's pretty clear that Ethereum is going to be the main beneficiary of all these stable coins that are being issued. They're going to be issued by the likes of JP Morgan, Citibank, Amazon Coin, Facebook Coin. All these major companies are going to issue a stable coin because it's in their interest to do so. It's better to use their own stable coin to do internal transactions or even, consumer B2C transactions. It saves them money relative to using like Visa or whatever convoluted, means of executing transactions that the banks have to do now. It's much better to use a blockchain, and there is no better position blockchain than Ethereum for that. But outside of that, I mean, if you look at, this is why I'm bullish on Ethereum relative to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is digital gold, but what else does Bitcoin really do? I mean, it doesn't, okay, it's digital gold. Like, I mean, you can send money around the world very fast, very cheap, self custody. I know it's the granddaddy coin, all that great stuff. But the entire industry of crypto, for the most part, outside of Solana, Degen, Casino, runs on Ethereum. Even the L2s going back ultimately get settled on the Ethereum blockchain. So all of Web3 runs on Ethereum. Now the stable coins are coming online. Let's not forget about NFTs. Let's not forget about DeFi. Let's not forget about the
NFTs,
token
please.
economics of Ethereum. It's being deflationary. It's right. You can earn yield on it. You can't earn yield on Bitcoin, not very easily anyway, right? Not just through staking it. Whereas Ethereum, you can. So I think for all these reasons, Ethereum massively undervalued. Definitely going to hit 10,000 and above this cycle. So for anyone watching, if you're, equivocating, oh, should I buy this, that, the other, big cap, I don't know, man. I think Ethereum's going to run. But the good news is, by the way, for those who don't hold Ethereum, right? You're like, I don't give a shit. I don't hold any. It's too expensive. I want to do 100 times, and Ethereum can't do 100 times anymore. We're too late. Well, you're probably true. You're probably right on that. But the good news is that when Ethereum does finally hit 10,000, what do you think is going to happen to your favorite altcoins? Where do you think fuck 9 to 5 is going to be? Substance. I know those are on Solana, but it doesn't really matter. Solana's going to hit, $1,000 Solana if Ethereum is at 10K. So where do you think is going to happen to all your altcoins? So everyone should be rooting for this to go down, even if you don't hold Ethereum, you're not have a vested interest in it directly. This is going to benefit everyone in the industry. Tide lifts all boats. Surf's going to run. Pulse chain assets. All the ETH plays that are legit are going to run. Your Kaikens of the world, your Mellowmans coins we've done very well and talked about in the past. Everything is going to fly once Ethereum is above 5,000. We have to break that previous all-time high of 4,900. 5,000 is obviously that kind of psychological level above that. That I think everything starts to go bananas. We're in price discovery mode. We're in, mania mode. Everyone's just bouncing off the walls. Millions of coins popping up. Everything's doing 5, 10x. This is what's coming. This is all coming in the next 3 to 6 months, right? Fall would be the traditional mark of the start of that mania. So I think September, October is when that all goes down. What say you guys?
I think what Nate had pulled up there is really important to mention as well. The supply shock for ETH can be so large because the inflation that is being occurred, whenever there's more utilization of the network, Ethereum becomes deflationary, even without what I'm about to say. B, all the inflation that is being created by validators, many of these validators are now Ethereum strategic reserve players. Meaning, SharpLink Gaming is going to be earning about 500 or more Ethereum from their yield from their holdings. They're not selling. Thomas Lee, they're going to be earning about 400 Ethereum per month from their yield. They're not selling. The new player is going to be earning 600 Ethereum per month from their yield. They're not selling. ETF, people who invest in ETFs are long-term players until retirement. If BlackRock offers yield from the ETF, meaning they are now staking that Ethereum in the ETF to produce yield, those Ethereum holders, those ETF holders are not selling. BlackRock might be selling their 20% of the share as fees, but that's it. That means that supply, that 6 million a day that's happening, is really like 2 million that gets in the hands of people who may or may not sell, and 4 million gets in the hands of long-term strategic reserve holders and ETF investors.
That's a great segue into this story here. Trump opening up the $9 trillion U.S. retirement market to crypto investments. Previously, I believe it was only like stocks and bonds and things like that. But what Hitman just said there is a great example. To this point, I think people, for the most part, have looked at crypto, unless you're like a really, really into this, full time and, true believer in the tech and Bitcoin, et cetera, as a way to make some money and then cash back into USD based assets or stocks or whatever. But look what people do when you build your retirement portfolio. Your goal isn't to amass a bunch of money and then start selling that when you retire, and you're not selling your assets, right? You're living off the yield that those assets provide. Right. I for a short period of time was a financial advisor for people, helping look at, investment strategies like this. And that was one of the first things you do is you go, okay, here's your how much money you make now, how much money you want to retire off of and have, each year to live off of. And so you need this much money based off of, a standard 8% or 5%, depending on their risk tolerance for, bonds and major stocks. To get that amount of money each year, so you don't have to sell your assets. The goal is not to depreciate the amount of your principal year after year. And it's the same thing people can now do with crypto. They can invest their retirement money into crypto assets like Ethereum and earn yield off of it. They don't need to just start selling their Ethereum. Like, these people aren't going to be selling. Maybe their kids someday, if they inherit their Ethereum or their Bitcoin, might sell it down the road. But these people, if they're buying it through a retirement account, number one, they're probably not managing it themselves. It will be an asset manager or retirement planner of some sort. And those people aren't in the business of selling assets unless they absolutely have to. Sure, medical bills, things happen, right? But most of the time, the ultimate strategy for retirement planning is you amass the assets as a principal, and you earn yield off that you live off of with your day to day. You're not selling those assets. So this is massive. If 10% of this $9 trillion comes into the crypto markets, we just hit $4 trillion, the all-time high for total crypto market cap. So adding $1 trillion to that's 25% of our current market cap. That absolutely just sends it. That's 10% of the retirement market. Who knows what's going to come in there? And again, these are long-term holders. These are people that are literally hodled to the grave. We say, well, that's what these retirement plans do. They buy and they live off the yields. They're not selling. This is massive. These are diamond hands to the extreme.
Never sell your Bitcoin, guys. These are the kind of stories. Look, we've been in this industry for almost 10 years now, and I just am so ecstatic to see these kind of stories. The amount of adoption, the amount of acceptance from traditional, Wall Street type, players, from the president, from the politicians. This is a massive watershed moment in crypto. I don't think we've ever had a convergence of this many bullish factors coming together between all these strategic reserves, right? Between what we said about the stable coins, between Trump now announcing you can, invest your retired money into crypto. It's just going to keep going. The snowball effect isn't going to stop. Once you have the big money players, once the BlackRocks of the world are in, one of the wealthiest, most powerful institutions in the entire world, once they're in, once they have a vested interest, do you really think they're just going to stop and say, oh no, slow the train down, or stop to reverse the train, make it all illegal again? No, it's just going to keep getting ingratiated into society. More and more people are going to be holding crypto and crypto adjacent assets in their retirement accounts, whether they know it or not. This is what is going to be happening. People are going to start buying the ETH ETF. They're going to get yield off of that, like Nate mentioned, living off that. We are in a true, I think, paradigm shift in terms of investing vis-a-vis crypto. It's an incredible moment to live through. People should not be sleeping on this stuff. This is all extremely relevant. We're going to look back in 10 years and go, wow, that was a moment everything changed. I actually look at it's November 7th, 2024, the day Trump won. That changed everything, right? If Kamala had won, none of this would be happening, or almost none of it, right? I think Bitcoin still probably would have done well, but almost none of the other stuff would have happened. That is the watershed moment where everything changed for this industry. So however you feel about Trump, if you're listening to the show and you like crypto, you should be thanking him and that administration, because none of this is possible without him. To me, that was the watershed moment. And I don't like getting too political on the show, although sometimes we do. But to me, that was the big, big moment that everything changed, and we are in the midst of an absolute paradigm shift. And in 10 years, and they were to look back and go, wow, thank God we were here and we were invested, because we are truly retired now and sitting on a beach in a mansion because we held on and we were in this industry from the early days.
I'm getting more and more sold on Hitman's idea of the 10-year bull run. Like he's mentioned before, gold ETFs went through, gold went on a 10-year bull run. Now, does that mean Bitcoin's going to go straight up? Crypto's going to go straight up for 10 years? No. But, is there the possibility that this 4-year cycle of, year and a half long bear market with a 70% drop happens? How do we have a 70% drop for a year and a half when you have BlackRock and every single major financial institution and sovereign wealth fund and billionaire and nation state invested in the top 10 assets and constantly buying more retirement plans coming in, using the stablecoin infrastructure. I mean, that's kind of bear market proof there. If you have all these companies running their businesses, their transactions on as a stablecoin on blockchain rails through Ethereum, like that sets a floor price for Ethereum. Like Ethereum can't go down 70% unless all of those businesses are stopping doing business.
One thing that does worry me is there is a lot of money kind of concentrated in the hands of the few. If Michael Saylor, for whatever reason, is like, I'm unwinding this whole thing, I'm starting to sell my Bitcoin. I don't know for a fact if that would cause a bear market, but that would certainly spook a lot of market participants. Now, does he do that? I don't think he does that. Does he need to do it? I don't think so.
Whether or not
cause him to have to do that if they just tank his stock, I don't. There are probably risks there that people should acknowledge, understand. But I don't know if we have a 10-year bull run. I do think we have a bear market at some point. I don't think 70% drawdown though. Is in the
agreed.
cards.
Right, that if you're only having 30% drawdowns on Bitcoin, those are drawdowns that happen in Bitcoin bull markets. That's where I think you can say this is a 10-year bull market. If your max drawdowns are 30%, those are bull market drawdowns. Look at 2021. How many 30% drawdowns did we have on the way up? 4 or 5. Look at 2017. How many 30% drawdowns did we have on the way up? 4 or 5. And everybody still thinks of that as euphoria, straight up massive gains. Well, I mean, if you're limiting your downside risk to 30%, but your upside is 2x, 3x, 4x every 4 years, well, you're far exceeding what we've seen in traditional markets. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Just keep accumulating. I mean, we're Bitcoin and the crypto markets are becoming more and more like the TradFi markets. People that are operating, the wealthy individuals, the people that are smart with their money are going to be able to operate within Web3, within crypto, just like they do with fiat assets. Great example here. JP Morgan considering, we talked about this a bit last week, considering offering loans backed off of crypto, such as Bitcoin and Ethereum holdings, just like you would with any other asset. Just like we talked about last week, you'd be able to use your Bitcoin and Ethereum holdings to apply for a home loan, right? The wealthy people out there accumulate assets and they debt leverage them. Same thing here. Accumulate Bitcoin, accumulate Ethereum, debt leverage them. Like,
I don't want to have to sell my Bitcoin. This is great, right? Like, so use your Bitcoin, you get your next home loan, you get your next auto loan, you get whatever funding you need in that shitty fiat that just keeps being devalued year after year. You hold on to that Bitcoin because that shit's going to $1 million in the next 5-10 years, whatever, and you get some cash out of it. So I think it's fantastic. It's just another example of Wall Street and the big money players. They're embracing this industry to the extent they never have before. Well, who remembers when Jamie Dimon was out on his soapbox talking about how Bitcoin's rat poison or whatever? I know that was technically
like 2 weeks ago
to somebody else, but he's been out there trying to kill it, for the past 10 years. All of a sudden, JP Morgan's embracing this stuff. So we're in an absolute paradigm shift. I just hope people sort of recognize this. And remember, take the long view. That's why it's so important to take the long view. I mean, if you were watching the show a year ago, shit was bearish. I don't know, our energy levels were probably less. But we weren't telling you to run for the hills and the industry's dead and to sell everything and, go into traditional stocks and forget about crypto. No, we were saying, hey, be patient, hold on, wait for the world to catch up to this technology, and things are going to be fine. You have to take that long-term view. Perfect example. Jamie Dimon out there trying to kill it, and now they're embracing it. I don't know, man. This is a big moment for crypto. I can't remember the last time I've seen a convergence of this many bullish factors from an institutional standpoint coming into the play. I'm just so excited, man. I hope people are just locked in and they're holding on, man, not selling for pennies.
Yeah, what if you missed this? I was just going to say to fill in because Crypto Armor was talking about Michael Saylor. Like, yeah, if he decides to shift ways, obviously that's going to cause a bear market. But as far as an unwinding, well, the way they have their debt structured set up, he just did a presentation a day or two ago saying that even if Bitcoin went to $30,000, they could survive on the way that they're structured for a decade before they would have to sell any Bitcoin.
No shit.
So if Bitcoin would have to go to 30,000 and sit there for 10 years, now he might be over embellishing. So let's say Bitcoin goes to 30,000 and sits there for 5 years. That isn't going to happen. So if that's the case, well, Crypto Paradise is out of business. We are wrong about crypto. Bitcoin probably is going to zero, and we're in a lot of trouble. So he went on stage and said he can survive 10 years with Bitcoin at $30,000 and still pay back all their debt obligations.
Well, I think the two things I'll say on that. One, if Bitcoin goes to 30K for any amount of time, there's something very, very wrong in the larger macro picture of the world. I promise we have much bigger things to worry about than the price of Bitcoin if that's the case. Like Bitcoin isn't going to 30,000 short of, some sort of catastrophic world-changing event, which, like I said, then we got bigger problems.
World War III would probably have to break out for that to happen.
Yeah, we got bigger problems to worry about than the price of Bitcoin if that happens anyways. Second point I wanted to make is, that's refreshing to hear. That's encouraging to hear. But man, anytime I see something like this, and we've talked about it before, I love Saylor, what he's doing. I hope I'm wrong, but man, this stuff scares me. The leveraging on top of leverage on top of leverage. Anytime we get people that think they're smarter than the market, I mean, how many times have we seen what happens generally in those cases? I don't know. I don't think, even if it unwinds.
This is different though than like FTX and that other DeFi one. Those were like scams, straight up scams. There is risk to what Saylor's doing. I don't love that so much. Let's just say capital is concentrated in the hands of essentially. I know he's a board of directors and he can't probably make all the decisions on his own, but really my guess is he does make pretty much most of the decisions. Now, is it good to have that much power and well centralized in the hands of one person? Probably not. So that is a risk. I think it's important to acknowledge the risks. There will probably be another bear market. I mean, I know Nate's out here saying 10-year bull run. I don't know if that's the case. There will be drawdowns. There will be bearish periods. But it's just like the stock market, right? I mean, there's been countless bear markets, countless drawdowns, countless crashes since the 1950s. But look at the stock market chart when you zoom out from 1950 to today. It's steady march up. I mean, so it's going to be the same story with Bitcoin. A lot of this is due to the fact that fiat keeps being devalued and people need hard assets, alternative assets to invest in. Part of it's the scarcity of Bitcoin. Part of it's the fact that it is a part of the core part of the digital revolution that society has been undergoing since the 1970s, age of the computers. So I just don't think we'll have bear markets, we'll have drawdowns, we'll have moments of FUD and fear and everything we've had before. But in 10 years from now, when Bitcoin is at $1 million, and we're out here sitting, and hopefully we have more subscribers by then, but we'll be saying, I told you so. We'll absolutely be saying, I told you so, just like we have been for the past year, talking about this bull run, the ups and downs that we've had. So, reminder, be long-term, stay locked in, stay paying attention, understand what you hold, and just believe in this asset class.
Well, if you missed, I got some charts here. Good. If you missed this run up in the last, week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it's been here, we're starting to see a little cool off on some stuff today. A lot of the alts down anywhere from 5 to 15%. Ethereum down about 5%. I'm not saying buy and dive in right now, but might get a little cool off period here. Might get a little retrace.
I'm saying buy and dive in. This is your dip.
I mean, this is one of these bull market little minor corrections. We'll be back ripping again in the next few days. Like, I'm not even worried at all.
No, I just mean like this might be your opportunity if you missed the rip to get in on. This might be your best opportunity coming up in the next week here to buy.
Yeah, we'll look at a couple things here. This is why you come to Crypto Paradise. We were live talking about, hey, this looks a lot like a perfect cup and handle based on Fibonacci levels, and this is on Pulse Chain, and that is up. It hit as high as 37% since this July 15th, so in 7 days. And what do you know? This is just a perfect cup and handle. You broke above the neckline, you came down, and now you bounced right off the breakout level. This confirms it again. So the next move would be up to this green line with the finality up here around 40 on Pulse Chain. So Pulse Chain had this bullish cup and handle, and so far it is working perfectly higher, and that's what you want to see. That also corresponds with Ethereum. This is the kind of sell-off. Saw weakness in Ethereum overnight, a little bit of altcoin sell-off, and that worked out perfectly for a retest on a cup and handle. So is this 100% foolproof? No, but down here it looked like it. Then down here it confirmed it, and then now you're having a perfect bounce. Like if you look up cup and handle on Google, this is as much textbook as it could be. So is that because there's other good traders on the network? Is that because bots are reading it as a cup and handle? Is that because Richard Hart is looking at these charts too, and he has millions and millions of dollars to paint pretty pictures? I don't know. That's for you to decide. All I know is we're making gains here on Crypto Paradise, and PLS coming off the lows up 100 and let's see what this is off the low of Pulse Chain. Up 93% off the all-time low for Pulse Chain. People are still sitting on cash saying that Pulse Chain was going to go to new all-time lows when the whale was dumping here, and I said, no, when the whale runs out, you are going to surge, and what happened? There you go. So let's look at Ethereum real quick, because this is the dip that Nate was talking about. And although it doesn't look like much, when you zoom in, there is this 5% dip here off of the 38.73 down here to 36.50. And what happened last time we got a dip? Well, last time we ran into the target of 3,000 to 3,100, you had a 5% dip and a 5-day consolidation before the next leg higher. Everybody said, oh, Ethereum's over, it's going to go down. Oh, well, 5-day consolidation ripped higher. So now you're down 5% again. You got all these Ethereum strategic reserves buying more Ethereum. You got Wintermute saying they have no Ethereum for sale, and you have all the yield being produced going to these Ethereum strategic reserves who aren't selling. So can this go down to 3,400? Sure, it sure could, but what is that going to look like? Right now you're on a 3-day consolidation. Last time was a 5-day consolidation. Could it go lower? Could you have a 10-day consolidation? Sure. I just don't think you get a massive sell-off, and I think these kind of consolidations are going to continue up and to the right into these higher targets just because the macro fundamentals are hundreds of millions of dollars are buying Ethereum, and there's only 6 million of Ethereum per day available. Supply and demand tells you higher.
It's supply and demand. That's the bottom line. There are more buyers than sellers right now across the entire crypto market. That's why everything is running higher. And yes, sometimes it's a grind higher. Sometimes it's consolidation period. Sometimes there's a little period of waiting and boredom. But the bottom line is this. In a bull run, there are more buyers than sellers. And that ultimately causes the prices to go higher sooner or later. So just bear that in mind. When you're in something, you're in your favorite alt, it's not running. Why isn't it running? Just wait. Be patient. There may be some big whale selling out because whatever he's FOMOing into something else, or he's about to invest in the next rug on Solana, or maybe he needs to pay off his car payment. I don't know. But once that seller is gone, I promise you there is going to be fewer sellers than there are buyers, and the price will start to grind back up. We've seen it time and again. Fuck 9 to 5, great example. That went through like a 2-month consolidation. After it had a massive run, right? It went on a big old run from 300,000 to like 3 million. And then it spent like a month just on a downtrend. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, all right, okay. More sellers than buyers right now because they're early buyers taking profits. By the way, we didn't sell a single token. Still hold all our fuck 9 to 5 because we think it's going much, much higher even from here. But you just wait. You just wait for the impatient to sell their bags, and eventually you run out, and then there's no more sellers, or at least much less sellers, and on a particular day, say a whale comes in, buys 5 Solana worth, that causes a massive candle. Then people FOMOing in behind that massive candle cause it to go even higher, and rinse, repeat. Well, I'm sure we'll have a consolidation here after this massive run. I don't know, maybe we retrace back down to, say, 4 million. And then we're going to run back, and then we'll run up to 15 or 20 mil. Because this project is not stopping. The bull market is not stopping. Everything is going higher. So just don't worry. I don't know if people are out there panicking. Oh, my certain altcoins are not going up. Just wait. Just be patient. And if you need proof as to what will happen and what does happen during a bull run, just check out the fuck 9 to 5 chart.
Yeah, but 76 days for a 21x. That's not too shabby. I'm
glad we held. The crypto market's full of impatient Jeets, right? And that's annoying. But if you're smart, and you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, but you got to be a little bit smarter than the other guy, right? If you're a little bit smarter than the other guy, you know where we are in the cycle. You understand how these things work. You understand, supply and demand, and all these things we always discuss on this channel. You know that eventually things are going to go higher if you're in a solid play. So just be patient. Just be more patient than the next guy. He sold. He got a 20%. You held for 76 days, and you did 20x. That's almost life-changing, right? You put in $5,000, you're sitting on $100,000, right? So to me, in the bull run, you have to be patient. You have to understand how these things play out. Don't be the Jeet selling for 20%. If you have a little bit of patience, you can do that 20x.
What other news articles we got, Nate?
That's about it for today. We covered quite a bit there. A lot of adoption going on. A lot of ETH getting bought off the markets. Bullish.
Let's get to some Surf news while we're at it, right? So Surf, the Crypto Paradise token, the DAO token of Crypto Paradise, we've been on a bit of a downtrend, bit of a consolidation. We showed you guys the chart. We did have some big whales selling out, I don't know, $10,000 or $20,000 worth of Surf, and did cause the price to go down. But there's a lot cooking in the background, right? We're not like just sitting on our hands. Obviously, we're starting these 5-day-a-week live streams. Also now live on YouTube, by the way. So get up Follow the YouTube, subscribe, share, retweet all this if you're a fan of the show. So we're doing that, but we got a lot cooking in the background. The dashboard, we are building out a crypto paradise dashboard, which is going to show you stats around your Surf token holdings. How many tokens have been burned? How many tokens have you earned? What the LP levels are. I think there may be some other stuff in the dashboard as well that I'm not even, stating here because I don't know all the details. The dev is working on it. We just paid him this morning. So he's going to be working on that dashboard. That's going to be out soon. Looking forward to that. That's going to, I think, grow the value of the brand, grow the value of the token. If you look at the likes of like a PTGC, right, or these other kind of blue chips on Pulse Chain, a lot of them have this dynamic dashboard. You can connect your wallet. You can see all the information you want to see. It kind of builds the trust. It builds your DeFi bona fides a little bit, right? And so that's going to grow the brand. I think going to cause the inherent value and the inherent market cap to go higher on Surf. So the dashboard is an important piece of the puzzle. You just showed another part of this website here, and that's the retreats. So we've been saying for a while, we've been playing this retreat down at Tulum. Obviously, if you hold Surf, you get discounts coming down and going down there with us. We have a 3-day retreat. Going to be a great time. We were kind of saying, at least I was to myself, well, we need the market to be bullish before people are going to spend, $3,000 or $4,000 on a 3-day retreat down in paradise. It's definitely be worth it, but you have to have made some good money in the bull run before you're willing to spend on something like that. But here we are. Bull run is upon us. I think it's indisputed. And so Nick and I are now going to be going down there end of August. And we're going to be scoping out more spots. We're going to be planning out the retreat a little bit more, reporting back to you guys. We want to get, 25, 30 people down there. I think we have already about 12 committed. So we want to get more people down there. And profits that we make on marketing deals, DeFi yield, these retreats, a lot of that profit is going back into the Surf token. Bear that in mind, right? Through buybacks and burns, etc. And I'll let Nick take it away on the burn tracker that's being developed as well. I think you're a little bit more queued up on that. But a lot in the background on Crypto Paradise. So don't fade. I know we had a big whale selling, but I think inevitably we're going to be grinding higher here soon.
Yeah, and on the burden side, I think today we're going to actually do our first buyback and burn with DeFi yield. So if you've been following along, those are more tokens that we didn't mention today because we're focusing on the movement meme coins. But we've given great calls on DeFi opportunities on Pulse Chain. EMIT, we're in at 49 cents. It's like $1.20, hit as high as $3. Vox, we're up 3 or 4x on. It's producing massive yield. RhinoFi, we told you guys about the launch at 40K market cap. It's at 650,000 market cap. And what do you know? Crypto Paradise is putting its money where its mouth is and has those tokens, has those farms, and is earning yield on Pulse Chain. So every week, we're trying to do every Tuesday, we're going to be using that yield, 100% of that yield, to buy Surf and then burn it out of supply forever. Although Surf is deflationary based on trading volume and it's already burnt 2.2% of its total supply, we're going to enhance that by buying tokens off the market directly and burning those to supercharge the deflationary aspect of Surf, which does what? It causes supply and demand shock, and we just talked about this on Ethereum, so what do you think happens on Surf? So that's just another component. The other thing is, look, as the bull market comes back, Crypto Paradise as a company is making more revenue. And although we have overhead costs, and you got myself and Nate and Crypto Amaru, we're not greedy. So always when we're making revenue off of Crypto Paradise, a percentage of that is going to find its way back into bridging into Pulse Chain, creating economic power for the layer one we want to do well, and will be used on Surf buybacks, LP ads, Surf burns, marketing, whatever it may be, just like we're using no expectation funds in order to pay a developer to build a dashboard on the website. And the dashboard is going to give you speculation and the insight to what is going on Surf. You're going to be able to go on there at any time and see how many tokens have been burnt, how many tokens are being burnt on a 24-hour basis, how many tokens are you earning to your wallet, how many tokens are being sent out in deflationary rewards to the entire ecosystem. And being able to see that each and every day, whether it's $5, $10, $1,000, you can kind of see the future of Surf and how the entire system works. And I think that's been what's missing from the Surf footprint versus PTGC, like you said, a token that we bought and called here at 1 to 2 million market cap. It's 180 million market cap right now, but they have all these dashboards and all these numbers for those nerds who want to look at what is going on behind the scenes and speculate on what that means for the future. That's how PTGC has got there. That's how Surf is going to get there as well, is we want you to understand how the token taxes are being used to benefit you as a Surf holder and to benefit the Surf price over time. Things don't happen overnight. Whales can still manipulate the chart up and down, but all of that is burning tokens, adding LPs, and paying surf holder rewards. And now you'll be able to see that with the click of a button here on the website.
Another place some of those rewards are going to is the giveaways. The mini app is up and running again. The last couple weeks, we've had tons of great tasks in there to start earning points again. And now we've got a raffle in there at the moment. Working with Trebly. They have a user-generated content contest, giving away $400, 200 in Trebly and 200 in Surf. To get the Trebly rewards, go out there, and here's some great submissions by shout out to long-time Crypto Paradise supporter, Nonso. He's got a couple different memes he's created here, a couple different AI images. He even went on there with using Trebly's tech and create himself a nice little 3D animated or a 3D image of that coconut logo there. So just for doing this, you're going to get entered into the Trebly side of things. Trebly's $200 is going to be based off of the most hype around the memes at the end of this competition here in about 24 hours. They are going to pull up the top 5, and then the community will vote, and the top 3 are going to get paid. For the rest of them, if you go to the Crypto Paradise mini app, we've got another $200 worth of surf for you guys. And this one helps to level the playing field. This one is simply a participation, kind of fair random draw. So anybody that participates in this and follows the steps in the raffle in the Crypto Paradise mini app, it's pretty simple. Same tasks as you have to do to get entered into the Trebly giveaway. So create some sort of meme, use their tech, follow us, join the Telegram, pretty simple stuff. If you do that and you sign up through the mini app, you're going to have a chance to win $200 worth of surf. And again, that's not based on voting, so you don't have to go out and shill yourself. It's completely, a random drawing there. So $400 up for grabs. And that's, the more we're able to be successful with the surf token, with the Crypto Paradise community, the DAO, the marketing business, the more giveaways we're able to do and add back to the mini app. I know when we went to the bear market there, the mini app was pretty quiet for a bit, but if you rewind back to the end of last year, beginning of this year, we were giving away like $1,000 a week in there. And a lot of the projects that made up the Paradise bags are getting ready to launch. So keep an eye out for that. Get in there, do the tasks, support the project. A lot of the tasks are simple. Hit the thumbs up on Dex Tools for the Crypto Paradise token and help boost that on Dex Tools. Hit the rocket ship on Dex Screener and help boost us there. You're helping yourself out. You're showing your own bag. And in the meantime, earning points. Stack those points into the Crypto Paradise bags giveaway. I saw the other day we have one of our long-term OGs with the DAO. Hit 1,000 entries into the Paradise bag. So shout out, I don't know, we won't dox them, but shout out to them. We do give that away. I think right now the notional value of the tokens in there is like 35 grand or something like that. We'll see what happens when the tokens launch. They could 10x, that could go to 350 grand. They could, go down 50%. We don't know. But that is going to be given all away to 1 or 2 or 3, depending how big it is, Crypto Paradise fans and mini app users. So if you haven't checked that out in a while, get back in there. The mini app is coming back to life just like the markets.
What I love about the kind of things that we're doing with Trebly, first of all, don't sleep on Trebly AI. Less than 100K market cap. The Surf DAO members are up 42% now on the call. So just saying, what I love what this guy is doing here is this kind of starts to lean into the Surf, the meme character, the meme mascot of Crypto Paradise, which I think we don't lean into enough. We need to lean more into Surf. And also, we were like the first movement coin. Granted, we're not on Ethereum, we're not on Surf, or we're not on Solana, so it's hard for us to lean into that. But if you go back, in the mantra, in the bio of Crypto Paradise, is escape the 9 to 5. Fuck 9 to 5 actually launched about a month before we launched the Surf token. That's why we thought it was an amazing collaboration, an amazing partnership, and why we got involved with them at 300K market cap. And, Surf came out at 11K market cap. So it's really interesting that we were almost ahead of the curve with the movement coins that are happening right now. Escape 9 to 5 has always been our mantra. See you on the beach has always been our mantra. And I love when community members start doing this because it allows us to quote tweet this, retweet this, interact with this, and lean into Surf, the mascot, the surfing coconut of Crypto Paradise, lean into the movement coins and lead into financial freedom, which is so hot right now in the market. And although there isn't as much liquidity in Pulse Chain right now, I think that is coming. The tide is shifting, and Surf is going to be on the cusp. And we're really one of the only movement coins over in Pulse Chain right now.
Speaking of hot, I think we need to get Amaru a pair of those Surf Speedos to wear down in Tulum next time he's down there to get some real content going.
Oh boy, yeah. airdrop me some surf, I might do it. I might just do it if you airdrop me something. But yeah, that's a great point, actually. I mean, the whole mantra, the whole reason we created this channel was to impart some of our knowledge, some of our connections to benefit those who want to achieve financial freedom through the crypto space. I think there is no faster or more democratic way to achieve financial freedom than crypto. You can't do it through real estate. You can't do it through S&P 500. It'll take you 60 years to do it. Crypto is the fastest way. The challenge is avoiding the pitfalls and the scams and the rug pulls. And not to say that we're perfect, not to say we have a perfect track record by any stretch of the imagination, but we are here to help. And my goal, right, we made a lot of money for people in the last bull run. My goal is to make people even more money this time, right? Have them retire early, right? Achieve their financial dreams. And that is why our tagline is "See you on the beach." Because I don't want to say made it, but we've done well in crypto to the point that we do have the Paradise Pad down in Tulum. And so we go down there. And so it's all about achieving those dreams for yourself. And ultimately, we'll see you on your respective beach. Some people don't like to actually hang out on the beach, and I actually find it a little bit boring after I'm down there for about a few hours. But I digress. The point is this: Crypto Paradise, the channel you want to follow if you want to achieve your financial goals and try to avoid some of those pitfalls and those scams along the way. So I do think we are the first movement coin, certainly on Pulse.
Here's the alternative.
See you at McDonald's. That doesn't sound quite as catchy, does it?
That's not so good.
So, all right, guys, great stuff today. Appreciate everyone's time. We actually got to jump onto spaces here because, look, it's the bull run. We can't sleep. There is no sleep in the bull run. I hope you guys stay locked in. We'll be back tomorrow with another live stream. We'll have some more hot takes for you guys, and news, analysis, charts, all the good stuff you come to Crypto Paradise for. And until then, guys, we will see you on the beach.